Hey, what's going on? All right, I want to talk about something today that is sort of one of those things where it's almost like a contradiction, right? I talk about contradictions a lot on this channel. I've got probably videos, maybe we should have a playlist on contradictions. But I would talk about the idea of how to have success, that there's two ways. Again, this is just one viewpoint, right? There's a lot, like when I say success, it's a very broad term, obviously. But how to make progress, how to have success in something that you're trying to do, based on two different philosophies that are completely different, opposite, contradictory in nature, but both work. Yet, if you fall in the middle, that's where you fail. So, the first way is to believe that something is 50 times harder than it actually is. So if you go into a situation and you believe it's going to be 50 times harder than it actually is, okay, then you are going to be more likely to have success. I'm going to break that down in a second because I want to get you both of the sides. The second side of this is to believe that it's so fucking easy that there's no way this shit isn't going to happen. It is so easy. You are born to do this. You're meant to do this. I've done it before, even though I haven't. It's so damn easy. Okay, that's the second way. So both of these actually work, and I'm going to talk about why each one works, okay? Whereas falling in the middle is actually the road to failure, and that's where most people are. Most people are in the middle where they're not sure, or they're giving an adequate assessment of the difficulty, which actually makes things harder and makes it more likely that they're going to fail. Okay, so I guess we could talk really about preventing failure as opposed to having success, which pretty close to the same thing here. Okay, so let's talk about, again, on the first side of it, I said that one strategy is to believe that something's 50 times harder than it actually is, okay? To set the expectation really, really high. Now, why do I say that? And why does it have to be 50? It doesn't have to be 50. The point is that you imagine the thing that you're trying to do to be a lot harder, maybe 10 times, maybe 50 times harder than what it actually is. And what's going to happen is it's going to require you, it's going to do two things, okay? First of all, it's going to require you to put in more effort. Okay, so most people, when they fail, it's because they put in a lower level of effort than is required for success, because they perceive what is required to for success to be less. Okay, this is one of those concepts straight out of 10x rule. Grant Cardone talks about this. I point to this book because he talks exactly about this in one of his chapters in that book. I can't remember what one, but it's very true. That's the whole concept between 10x, right? This is a very similar concept as what I'm talking about here. Essentially the same one, really. But the whole idea is this, is that if you are perceiving something to be here and it's actually a little bit higher and you only put in this effort, you're going to fall short. And when you fall short, you fail. It's no good. You're going to be discouraged. But if you perceive it to be way up here, okay, or you know it's kind of here, but you perceive it to be right here. You treat it as like it's like 10, 50x, and you put in as much effort as you can. You may not reach the 50x effort. You're probably not going to, okay? Let's be realistic here. But you're putting in a lot more effort. You're going to easily breeze past that. So I'll give you a good example here, right? So I've run a lot of half marathons and racing, you know, and this applies very much in racing. If you want to set your time, okay, so for example, let's say that you wanted to be able to run a 2-hour half marathon, okay? That's a pretty respectable time for most people, you know, unless you're crazy, but, you know, 2 hour, that's about, you know, pretty reasonable, okay? So in order to do that, I believe you have to run like 9 20-minute miles, 9 minute 9 second mile, okay? Sorry for you Europeans, kilometers, I don't know. But, all right, so, and when I was training for this, trying to break the two hour half marathon, I didn't think, okay, I didn't think I need to run 9:09s, okay? So if I went to the race day, okay, and I show up there and I'm like, okay, I got to run 9:09s, and I'm pacing myself. And I'm like, perfect, 9:09. Second mile, 9:09, right? At third mile, 9:09. I'm not gonna make it. I'm just barely gonna make it, or I'm not gonna make it, because on mile 11 or 12, I'm like, oh shit, I can't run a 9:09, right? It's gonna be very, very close. I have a very high chance of failure. But when I was training for it, what I said to myself is I need to run 8:50s. Okay, so in my training sessions, when I'm thinking about I'm training myself to the point of being able to run 8:50s. In fact, if I would have trained myself to being able to run 8:30s, I would have easily been able to break through. So I'm setting the bar higher, okay? Not lower, not where it needs to be. I know where it needs to be. I know 909 is what I need, but I'm not setting the bar there, okay? Because if I do that, I'll fucking fail. Instead, I'm setting it way higher. I'm training way harder than I need to. I'm training much more than I need to in order to accomplish the goal. I want to do more. I want to make sure that there's no way that I'm going to possibly fucking fail. So I'm thinking of it a lot more difficult than it is, okay? Which is bringing my A game out. It's forcing me to perform. It's forcing me to go and perform as high levels as I can because of that, okay? Now, the second thing that it's doing here is I bet you didn't think I was going to remember that I had two things. Okay, the second thing is it's going to set expectations, okay? When you have expectations of something going to be fucking hard, okay? When it's hard, what do you think? You think, well, it's supposed to be fucking hard, okay? So it's hard, all right? So, for example, you know, doing like fasting or doing crazy diets and stuff, I always try to make it harder than it is, right? I always think in my mind, it's going to be so much harder, right? I don't ever take up a challenge and say, oh, this will be pretty easy, or I should be able to do this, okay? I'll talk about the other extreme, but I'm usually gonna say this is gonna be really fucking hard, but I'm gonna fucking do it anyway. And then when I'm like, you know, let's say you're doing a 24-hour fast, you're like hour 18 into fast, you're like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Cool, it's awesome, right? Or you could do some kind of crazy, grueling workout, and you're like, it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be, okay? That works for you by setting that expectation. You're going to be working harder and your expectation. Whereas opposed to the opposite, when you think something is going to be super easy, okay? Or not super easy. Let's say you just think something's going to be easy or moderately easy, because we'll get to super easy in a little bit here. Then your expectation is really low, and then when it's harder than you expect, that hurts you because you're like, wow, I can't do this, right? And it depresses you. It makes you feel less motivated. Okay, now we'll go to the other extreme, right? So now that I've convinced you one thing, I'm going to convince you the opposite. Now the opposite also holds true. If I go into a situation and I believe that I was born to do this shit, it's going to be so fucking easy. It's so easy. There's no worry about this. This is no problem. I got this. There's no way I'm going to fail at this. Okay? It also causes me to perform at a higher level because I have confidence built into what I'm doing, and I'm going to live up to that expectation that it's going to be easy. I'm not putting pressure on myself, right? And these things can apply in different situations, in different contexts, but they can also apply in the same one. I can take the exact same situation and I can let my mind at ease. Now, it's harder sometimes to believe that something is easy and you're born to do it, right? It's easier to say this is 50 times harder, honestly. Like it's easier to mentally force yourself to go through that hoop. Sometimes it's harder to force yourself to say, oh, this is easy. I can do this. This is no problem. I can do this in my sleep, okay? And some of you might be saying, oh, that's false confidence. No, it's not true. Because a lot of times when you play that part, you're going to have the success of that. If you assume success, right? This is the whole faking it till you making it. This is the whole walking in those shoes of success, which begets success. A lot of times, especially outcomes in dealing in social situations with people, already having the confidence, already believing that you are, right? And not trying to prove yourself makes you that, okay? And this is one of those things a lot of the guys that I coach with the dating advice, with girls and pickup and whatnot, this is what I tend to emphasize to them is, right, if I can get you to feel like you're already the man, like you're already the shit, and everything's good, and you're golden, you have high value, and you can just project that and start walking around like that, like you deserve, like you're entitled to some degree, you're going to get the benefits of that because other people are going to assume the same thing, and you're not going to have the pressure. You're just going to feel like you can flow and you can do it. At the same time, I could tell them that they need to make things harder and think that they're way harder, right, if they can't get that mindset. So it's a harder thing to get that free mindset, but sometimes it's like a freebie card, right? And so a lot of times, in order to do that, what you have to do is you have to take on the role, okay? So in the aspect of where we said things are 50 times harder, it's just a mental exercise. You're just imagining things harder than they are and over preparing for them. And the other side, to make things feel easy and breezy and super easy, like you're born to do this, you've got to actually own it. You've got to actually take on that role. You've got to imagine yourself. A lot of times if you can take on a role or basically role play, right? So if I put you in a role and I say, you know, or you paint yourself and you see your image of yourself as this, right? So for example, we could take their same running example and the same thing here, right? You could have super trained for the running, for the marathon, to make sure the half marathon that you can run in 8:50 or an 8:30, and so you'll easily make the 9:09. But also, not that you have to that you can skip the training. If you have the mindset that you're a fast runner, that you can easily break a 9-minute mile pace, that's nothing for you, okay, then it can be nothing for you. It can be much simpler and much easier. It doesn't mean that you don't have to train. Like, let's not you know, be ridiculous here, but it's going to go a long way to helping you do it, and also to push through the pain, right? Because you could have the same level of training, okay, and you could have one mindset that's, okay, this is going to be hard, and you can have another mindset that's like, this is going to be easy. I'm so easily going to run under a 9-minute mile, no problem, right? And what's going to happen is when things start to get tough, if you've got the mindset, if you've got the image, the role for yourself that this is easy and this is fun and you're an awesome runner, right? Then when that pain comes, you'll be like, oh, this is fucking nothing. I'm expecting the pain. It's no problem. I'm the kind of person who pushes through it and I can easily do this, and you're going to be more successful. Whereas when it hits you, if you haven't thought that way and it's hard, you're going to say, well, I guess I'm not what I thought I was, okay? And you're going to give up and you're going to let go of that identity. So this is kind of forming an identity and holding on to it, whereas the other side is this is just like, is over preparing. And so you can actually combine the two to some degree, right, in different situations. But you want to choose when you go into a situation, which way are you going to go? In fact, here's what I would say, like combining the two, okay? One is in training. Imagine the goal to be 50 times harder. Okay, right? You want to get the best of both worlds. Here's what you do. When you're training for something, imagine that's going to be so fucking hard, and train like, you know, study for the test like the test is going to be ridiculously hard, right? Study harder than you need to, right? What's that quote? The blood in training or the sweat in training is less blood in battle, okay? And then when you actually exercise, when you actually do it, when you actually take the test, when you actually go for the race, when you actually go out there in the field, okay? Now imagine that it's so easy. Now imagine you're so prepared for this. Now imagine, and doing this extra training will help you to do that in any way. So now you imagine that things are easy, that you're born to do this, that you're natural. You give yourself the role, you give yourself the identity of the fucking superstar, and you just rock it, okay? Because at the point where you're executing, it's too late to train. Okay? It's too late to train. So you might as well have the attitude, right? However prepared you are, that's how prepared you are. You might as well have the attitude that you're fucking awesome at this point, because it's only going to help you. You might be wrong, but it's only going to help you. It's not going to hurt you at that point. You see what I'm saying? At that exact point. Now, where most people fail is that they fall into the middle. Okay? When they're training, when they're executing, they're always in that same place of, I'm not sure. I guess we'll see. We'll see if I'm good enough. We'll see if I can make it. No. That's no good. That's where you fail. That's where you make mistakes. That's where you're nervous. That's where, you know, you have doubts. Okay, that's where all the things fall apart. So instead, you want to choose these divergent choices, right? You're either going to make things really fucking hard, harder than you can possibly imagine, or really, really fucking easy, or combine them by doing the hard in training, and then at actual execution time, it's a belief, it's identity. Okay, and like I said, both of those things will serve you. But in the middle is where you don't want to fall. Never, never. If you're going to commit to something, fully commit to it, or don't do it, right? That the middle ground where you fall in the middle, that's where you fucking fall in the ditch, because you don't have the momentum to jump over the ditch. You're running weak, okay? If you're going to try to run over a ditch, run as hard as you can. Don't run at a medium pace. It's stupid. You're just going to fucking fall in. Or don't run at all. Just stop and don't jump the ditch. But if you're going to jump the ditch, go as hard as you can. You got nothing to lose. All right? That's all I have for you today. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button today, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. Now, I guess you don't have to click it today, but if you haven't clicked it at all, click the subscribe button, click the bell so you don't miss any new videos that come out. I say this every time, but you guys are missing the videos. I know you are, because you're Googling, you're searching. I look on the YouTube search, and you're like, search for John Sonmez. Just fucking click subscribe, click the bell, then you'll get the videos, and you won't have to search. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.